Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new video. Today I wanted to have a look at the rarest items in the entire game. Because there are just so many different items to work towards in RuneScape, some items are extremely rare. Now today we're not going to be talking about pets because you know what, they're animals, not objects. So today I'm going to be showing you the rarest items in RuneScape. Some of these are going to be untradeable items, some of them will be tradable, some will be from stuff like minigames, raids, just weirdly rare items for some reason. I'm going to be giving you a diversity of different types of items, so we're not just going to find the 10 technically rarest items, which would be weird stuff like quest items or stuff that nobody cares about. I think it will be more interesting to find rare items that are very hard to obtain for a certain reason, and that is why they are rare. And on top of that, I'll mix in some other interesting items, which I think will make for a more entertaining list. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and let's get started. Now, by far one of the rarest items in the entire game is the Zareks Cape. Now you can only get this by completing 2,000 Chambers of Xeric kills, but wait for it, in challenge mode. Now this cape was released back in May of 2018, and it took someone the better part of a year to earn the Zareks Cape. And even to this date, there are very few in the entire game. The reason being that it is such a time investment to get 2,000 Chambers of Xeric challenge mode kills is going to take forever. Now, if we go to the high scores and have a look, we can see that only 6 people in the entire game have acquired enough kills to even get the Champion's Cape. So that means there's only 6 in the entire game. And just to show how impressive of an achievement that is, only the top 20 people have achieved 1,000 kills, which is only half of what you need. So yes, this is an untradeable item, but it is probably by far the rarest or one of the rarest items in the entire game that is still obtainable. Now, when most people think of rare items, they think of Third Age. Third Age being iconically one of the rarest items to obtain in the game. However, with that said, there are thousands, if not tens of thousands of clue scrolls completed every day, which means even though the items are extremely rare, there's just a high volume of clue scrolls being completed, which means that most Third Age items are actually more common than you would imagine. However, with that said, the rarest Third Age items are those that come solely from master clues. Now, these items include the Third Age pickaxe, the Third Age axe, and the Third Age druidic set. Now these have a drop rate of 1 out of 313,000 from a reward casket from Master Clues. Alternatively, you can get them from a Mimic, which has a drop rate of 1 out of 5,000. But if we have a look at some of these items, their daily traded amount on the RuneScape market, very low, only 1 or 2 a day often. And they've retained an extremely high value for quite a while now. For example, the Third Age pickaxe is currently worth 1.7 bill. Especially from something that is essentially a cosmetic item. Yes, it is as good as a dragon pickaxe, but a dragon pickaxe is like 500 times cheaper, so pretty much everyone will get a dragon pickaxe, except for the elite few that use this item. Now anecdotally, I have seen one Third Age pickaxe, and I have never seen a Third Age druidic piece, so from my perspective, they are extremely rare. So rare in fact that there was actually a discrepancy on one of the druidic pieces. Apparently the stats on it got changed after an update, but nobody noticed because, well, nobody has the item. Now surprisingly in RuneScape, some of the rarest tradable items aren't actually that hard to obtain. They're simply uncommon because nobody cares, or they are just not useful, or they are part of a collection of a large amount of items. For example, flat packs. Flat packs are made in construction, but mostly people don't ever make them. There are a ton of different flat packs for each piece of furniture that you can make, and because of this, there's just a large diversity of these different items, and mostly people don't make them. Now, back in 2017, there were data streams, and the Opulent Table flat pack was actually in the top 10 most rare items in the entire game. Now, if we go onto the RuneScape marketplace, go back 6 months, we can see that this item was sold only 5 times in the last 6 months, which means on average, this item is only traded 10 times per year. That is so rare for a tradable item, yet pretty much anyone could go ahead and make it rather easily. Another really good example of this is the Zenyte Amulet Unstrung. Once again, that was on the top 10 list a few years ago. If we go into the marketplace, we can see that none were traded in the last 6 months, which means that probably in the last year, there was either 0 or 1 or 2 at max. Now for the Zenyte Amulet specifically, it just doesn't make any sense for someone to sell that item because when you get a Zenyte, you probably want to cash in on it or use it yourself. You don't want it just hanging around doing nothing. And that is what will happen if you leave it as an unstrung Zenyte Amulet. Now, in my opinion, one of the most challenging capes to obtain in the entire game is the Champions Cape. The reason for that is the only way to get it is to complete the Champions Challenge, which requires you to obtain 11 Champion Scrolls. Now, it's possible you have never gotten the Champion Scroll before, and that is because they are so rare. And not only are they rare, they are often on monsters that you don't kill that frequently. For example, hobgoblins, ghouls, earth warriors, Jogers, like not many people kill these frequently for Slayer or for any other reason, yet you need to kill them on average 5,000 times because each Champion Scroll has a drop rate of around 1 in 5,000, which means you may need 50,000 or more individual monster kills, which is going to take a long time. Now, as of the last stat update on October 3rd, 2019, around 1,093 players actually have obtained the Champions Cape, which makes it one of the most rare items in the entire game. Now, as of January 1st, 2020, around 9,000 people have maxed an account in Oldschool Runescape, and what you get for maxing an account, you get a max cape and hood. So that means only 9,000 people have this item. However, you're able to actually change that item into an upgraded version, which means that this cape gets diluted even more. There's the Accumulator Max Cape, the Arduin Max Cape, the Assembler Max Cape, the Infernal Max Cape, Fire Max Cape, and then there are the max versions of the God Cape. Now, we don't know for sure which one is the least picked, but we can make an educated guess, and that would be the least useful one. And in my opinion, the least useful cape here would be an unimbued God Cape. It's very easy to get the imbued God Cape compared to some of these other items, so I really doubt someone would have maxed an account without getting the imbued God Cape, which means one of them would be the least popular version. And of the 3 colors, I'm gonna guess Guthix. You can fight me on that one, I don't know, I think Guthix looks the least good and probably is gonna be the least picked. If I was to give a rough estimation, I would say there's probably less than 500 Guthix max capes in the entire game. Okay, next up here we have another item very similar to the Zareks Champion, and that is the Sinhaza Shroud Tier 5. And you get this item by completing 2,000 Theater of Blood raids. And initially I thought this item would be more uncommon than the Zareks Champion, because the Theater of Blood is more recent than the Chambers of Xeric and even more recent than the Chambers of Xeric challenge mode. Yet there's a pretty obvious reason why the Sinhaza Shroud Tier 5 is still more common than the Zareks Champion, and that is because the Chambers of Xeric challenge mode, as far as I'm aware, is not efficient for earning the most cash. It's more of an extra challenge, not necessarily what most people are doing, which means that way more people are going to be doing the Theater of Blood compared to the Chambers of Xeric challenge mode. What this essentially means is that 270 people have the Sinhaza Shroud 5 compared to the 6 of the Zareks Champion, which makes it a lot more common, yet still one of the rarest items in the entire game. That is still a ton of kills to have under your belt, so it still makes it very impressive. Okay, and last up here I actually have a mini game reward, and this is just kind of a total guess, but I'm going to say the Phasmatis Flag is one of the rarest items in the entire game, purely because it is from Tradable Brewing, and it requires 6,000 pieces of 8, and at a mini game that offers no meaningful rewards beyond cosmetics. I don't have an exact number on how many people have this item, but I would imagine under 100. Such a waste of time. I'm sure I'm going to get comments now saying, well, I have one. But I would be extremely shocked if more than a handful of people actually had this item. But you know what, send me a picture if you do. Anyway guys, that is going to be it for today's video. These are some of the rarest items in the entire game. If you think there are rarer items out there, let me know with a comment down below. I really appreciate it. Thanks for watching guys, and I will see you next time.